there'll be a day where you can't actually sell. Nobody will accept fiat for Bitcoin because one is completely illusionary that can be printed out of nothing, and one is the real deal. So yes, there will come a day when the only thing that you can do is trade your time or trade real assets for it. And the problem with that is that by that time, a lot of people's time will be worth less than it is today. And what I mean by that is right now, there's companies who are paying $60,000, $70,000 a year for like an assistant or somebody that can be replaced by AI. So that's the trick here, is that yes, in the future, you're only going to be able to trade time and energy or real assets for Bitcoin, but our time and energy is going to be worth significantly less in the future, which means you're going to have to find somebody who's willing to trade a better asset than Bitcoin. Think about that. I want to repeat that because it's something that we really need to understand here, is that in the future, there will be people will not accept fiat for Bitcoin. Do you know why? Because fiat can be easily created, printed, easily. Takes zero energy. So there will be a point in the future where people do not accept fiat for Bitcoin. So in that sense, how are people going to get Bitcoin? People who don't have Bitcoin, or how are people going to get more Bitcoin? And you think, okay, you're either going to, my theory is that people are either going to have to trade their time and energy to obtain sats, or they're going to have to sell or trade real assets for sats. And where the world's heading to with AI and robotics, humans are going to be much less valuable. So your time, whatever value you add to the world today, is going to be worth significantly less in the future. So you might be able to trade some time. It might be like a laborious job, something that can't be done by robots. I don't even know what that is. So then you say, okay, well, if my time and energy is going to be worth less, my value is going to be worth less, I'm going to have a harder time. Then I'm going to have to trade real assets for Bitcoin. And then you have to think, okay, well, what assets would somebody trade for Bitcoin? Real assets. Maybe a house. I think housing will be the closest thing. Vehicles, gold. Why would somebody trade gold for Bitcoin in that future? Silver. Why would somebody trade silver for Bitcoin? So then you ask, like, why would anybody sell their Bitcoin for anything? And then you're left with, maybe nobody's going to sell their Bitcoin. Moment to reflect. But seriously, like when you play this thing out in your head, it's fucking crazy. And then you factor in the fact that the demand will increase forever and the supply will not change. So as the demand goes up, as the green lights turn on around the world, as more and more people understand, not just hold Bitcoin, but understand Bitcoin, the green lights turn on, that top line, the demand continues to increase. The bottom line, the supply does not change. Then you have more people, more and more people fighting for the same amount of supply. Probably be less supply actually at that point, because you're going to have to factor in lost Bitcoin. You're going to have to factor in people dying with their keys. You're going to have to factor in people like Michael Saylor who actually are going to burn their keys upon death. We did a video yesterday on Maple Bitcoin. It's going to be posted on Sunday. And it was our best video yet, I think. And it was based on the fact that that kind of thing that I was just talking about there in a roundabout way. But as we were talking through it, and I was sharing my thoughts, Rajat was sharing his thoughts, Forrest was sharing his thoughts, it was impossible for me not to smile, because it was kind of like these lights turning on in my head. and thinking like, holy shit, you know, we're right about Bitcoin. And if we're right about Bitcoin, look out. Look out, world. Okay, I missed